Thank you very much. And in conclusion, where do you go? I mean, here's Dale Barnett over here saying he followed me when he was a kid. Yeah, right. I mean, I know I've aged a little bit. I mean, I just went to my high school class reunion. I don't know if you've ever been to a class reunion. If you haven't, don't go. There are a lot of old people there. And they say they went to school with you, Oh. I grew up in a small town. I did play American Legion baseball in Anadarko, but I grew up in a town called Binger, Oklahoma, a town of 661 people. My dad started the Little League team when I was 6 years old. We rode around the back of the pickup truck in our little Levi's and T-shirts. And we were such a small town that we'd actually have to go around and knock on doors. We only had 8 kids, and we'd go around, and can Danny play? Said, no, he's working today. Okay, we go a couple doors down. Can Dale play? Yeah, but he'll have to be back here by 2. He's got to mow the yard. So we'd go play, and we would lose. And my dad would say, because they just started the team there. And Dad'd say, that's all right, we'll get them tomorrow. Let's go get a cheeseburger. And we played, and I've had 2 older brothers, and we played games, and we competed in tin can, and we played the home run derby, and we did all that. And at the end of the year, we kind of we improved. And then we played a team that was undefeated, and we beat them. And they were over there crying. Today, it's the parents that are over there crying. Because most of you people actually thought you could play at one time and know everything about the game. You never were worth a damn. Leave the kids alone, okay? Stay out of it. You don't know how to hit today. You never hit in your life. I mean, we always got better, as we improved along. But and so I looked over at my dad and I said, Dad, what's wrong with them? And he said, son, they haven't learned to lose yet, son. Let's go get a cheeseburger. And so we played, and things became a deal. And when I was 14, I went down to Anadarko and joined the American Legion team. Of course, when you're an outsider, you come from another town. They already had 3 catchers. I mean, they were a town of about 6,000, so they had a nice baseball team. They had 3 catchers, so I was the bench. Sat on where my namesake was. I heard that enough. Why don't you go on the bench? And so I was sort of relegated to the bench, and then Jim Burgess was, how did I come up with that name? Wow. Jim Burgess was the catcher. He got mad at our manager and quit. Gentry Castleman was the backup. He got a foul ball and broke his collarbone. And Leonard Pigg was the backup to him. He had 3 pass balls in 1 inning, and so I got to catch the next inning by osmosis. And, of course, the other kid came back and decided he was going to play again, so I sat on the bench until I was 17. So I've had some great associations with what it is. I've had some honors. We mentioned a couple of them. Growing up in Binger, as I said, and drafted in 1965. 1970, I was the most valuable player, and I mentioned that because Sharon Scott called me. Sharon called me in 1970 and saying, well, it is our 5-year class reunion, and you as president is supposed to put that together. And I said, well, as class president, I hereby appoint you and Sue to run this. You have to delegate authority. That's the way I found out, just hanging around these guys. I can see it right now. And so she called me back a couple of days later and said what she'd like to do is have everybody put in $3 and bring a covered dish. Ooh, are we going to have fun or what? Lendl's going to play country music. I said, oh, we've got some things going on. I said, being a rich guy that I was making like $500 a month by then. I decided that I'll just cater this whole thing. So, by the way, we're going to have a parade for you. As you were the National League MVP, we're going to have a parade. And you're going to get Doc Pfeiffer's convertible. And you're going to be able to ride in the convertible on the back. And we're going to get all the trailers and put the chicken wire, and we'll get the tissues, and we'll dye it. So here I go, and I'm down at the Opitz Gin down there, and here's the trailer, and they've got those tissues up there. Congratulations, Johnny MVP. And we had some people from the Cincinnati Reds ownership and general manager, and they're there to celebrate with us. And we line up down there at the Opitz Gin's right next to Sugar Creek, for those guys that don't even know what state they're from out there in Oklahoma. So here we are, we take off uptown, and nobody's there. Everybody is in the parade. Well, I take that back. There were 3 drunks come out of Mike's bar and going, "You're the man, Johnny, you're the man." And we made a U-turn down at the police station, and we were able to wave at each other as we went back down the street. So I never got to go to college. I graduated when I got out of school. I got in school a year early, so I was 17 when I graduated. I got to Tampa, Florida, and had my 6 pair of Levi's, my 1 pair of dress pants, and they flew me down. First plane I ever been on. I went down to Dallas and then to Tampa. They took me to the plane, took me to the ballpark, dressed me in a uniform. I warmed up the pitcher at home plate in the bullpen in the 7th inning, warmed up the pitcher at home plate in the 8th, and caught the 9th inning of that ball game. 17 years of age. And they released the other catcher that night. I had no place to stay. I stayed at over some of the pitchers. They had an apartment. I slept on the hideaway sofa. Got up in the morning, clothes were still on the floor, breakfast wasn't ready, and you talking about a 17-year-old boy from Oklahoma needed his mommy really bad about that time. That would have been me. And I had to grow up overnight. I had to mature. I'm not like your kids that had a chance to go to college for those 5, 6, or 7 years before they to mature, and then that year or 6 months in Europe to find out who they really wanted to be before they came back and took a job at Outbacks. And so I never had that chance. And so that's why I started my scholarship fund, and I'm proud that we have 84 kids on scholarship this year. And it's been a real joy for me because I never... People always, people come up, and it happened to be Dave that says, "You probably don't remember me, do you?" And, I see a lot of faces, a lot of people, and you guys don't wear your hats every day at the bar, so I don't recognize all of you. So anyway, it happened, so when I get up to, Lyndall, I mentioned Lyndall Least, the country singer. Now, if we hadn't helped him with math, he would still be going to Binger High School. Didn't have a clue. And I go up for the class reunion, and here's this limo pulls up just as I get there. And out steps Lyndall East. And I said, "Lyndall, what in the world's going on?" He said, "Well, Johnny, I'm not a greedy individual." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You remember I married Marie Rasnick?" I said, "Yeah, she was in our class." "Well, you remember I married her. I don't know if you knew that, but her dad had this big cattle farm. And so we figured out we could build a big steak restaurant out on the 4-lane highway. And we could buy steaks from her dad for $1 and sell them for $4. And I've been happy with that 3%. I am not a greedy individual." It's really a good thing you could sing, Lyndall. I think it is. And then, of course, you don't remember me. You don't remember me. No way, walk in and all the people and I don't. I walk in the high school and I walk in the lobby, and this first guy comes up and says, "You probably don't remember me, do you?" I said, "Yeah, you're Charles Walker. You taught physics too." He said, "That's impressive." I said, "Let me tell you something even more impressive. X to the 5th power times x to the 5th power is x to the 10th power because you add exponents. You don't multiply them." He said, "That's awesome." I said, "Let me tell you something even more awesome. That's the first time I've used it since you taught it to me." I hope you like my new shirt and tie. I forgot it when I was traveling over there. Everything. I went down to try to get a size, and the neck size. I don't know what it is. My goal this year was to lose 10 pounds, and I'm only 15 pounds away from it. So I'm really moving towards that side of it. Lady gets pulled over by a police officer, young police officers, says, "Ma'am, can I see your driver's license?" Says, "I don't have a driver's license. It was suspended for drunk driving." Said, "Well, you have a registration?" Says, "No, I actually stole the car, killed the owner, cut him up, put him in plastic bags. He's in the trunk." He backed away and said, "Officer needs assistance, officer needs assistance." 2 cop cars pull up. Senior officer goes over and says, "Ma'am, we're going to have to look in your trunk." She said, "That's fine." Opened up the trunk, clean as a whistle, spick and span. He said, ma'am, do you have a license? Yes, I do, right here. Do you have a registration? Yes, I do, right here. So, well, ma'am, you told this officer you had your license suspended for drunk driving. You stole the car, killed the owner. You didn't have a registration. You put him in the trunk. She said, yeah, I'll bet that little liar told you I was speeding, too. Well, the secret to speaking is three things: be good, be quick, be gone. And those are the three things about it. And I know you've got some really exciting people to follow me up. Whoa, okay. And, I mean, hell, it took you 98 years to give me this award. I don't know why it took so long. You know, the 98th award going to Johnny. I said, wow, who beat me out here? I mean, I was like, no, it's, I respect you guys so much. I mean, my dad served 2 hitches in North Africa and Italy, and he came back. His dreams were squashed that he never had a chance to be a catcher in the major leagues, and that's why he thought catching was the quickest way to the major leagues and what major leagues needed. And that's the way he directed me. I fell in love with it. I've been involved not only with the things here, but I've helped with this year. I've helped raise almost $3 million for. We have a charity down in Fort Myers. We have the Abused Women and Children. Raised about $900,000. We have the Children's Charity Classic in Kentucky, which raised $700,000. Just got back from Hope for the Warriors. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Hope for the Warriors. It's 10 years old. Hope for the Warriors gives 92 cents out of every dollar to help assist with. We have facilities. 70% of our time, a couple of years back, was for the rehabilitation, physical therapy. Now it's converted over to the fact that we are dealing with the post-traumatic syndromes, and we find out that, you know, when you hear that 22 veterans commit suicide every day, 19 of those are Vietnam veterans. It is important that we're doing it. We're having some great success. Down in Lexington, we're starting a thing called Save a Warrior, where they actually meet together. Our people, our warriors are meeting, and they're actually benefiting from that greatly. And then we have a thing called, in Louisville later in November, early November, we have a USA Cares, which about 100% of every dollar goes, and those go for mortgages, gas, groceries, and everything else. Your job, your organization is one of the most respected. It's such a great honor to be with all of you today. I accept this, and I will continue to do my job and try every way that I can to be a good guy, help communities, and try to support people like you. Thank you.
Okay.